today we're going to discuss spiritual gifts of the latter times. All right. Because the signs of the times are there as spoken in the scriptures and the prophecies. Right. So we're going to discuss that. Once again, welcome to the class, ladies. This is the TLOJAF Sisterhood class. Okay, we're here Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. I am the National Minister of Education, Sister Rena. This is a Sisterhood class, the Daughters of Zion. Are you able to stroll to the Rabbah? So, ladies, if you know anyone who may be interested or someone you feel who would be great to refer here and come and assemble with us or to join the sisterhood, please have them shoot us an email at TLOJAF777@gmail.com. That again, that's TLOJAF777 number of completion, right? At gmail.com. All right, so our mission statement is for the straightening of Salaki. It's the mission statements for the straightening of our nation and community, and then for the edification for living set apart, as well as breaking generational curses and old patterns. Okay, we are under the leadership of our national president, Nasi Nasir X. All right. So here you have for the Daughters of Zion, Sister Katrina, Sister Kunjay, Sister Malka, and myself, Rena. Salaki. All right, so we are recruiting now. As I said before, we are recruiting. So if you know any sisters you would like to refer, please invite them. Please invite them to a class. Please, if you can, print out flyers, or you could just share this flyer through social media, through email, text message, however you would like to do, just to inform and let other sisters know the movement. All right. So we would love for you to get the message out, get the word out. We're recruiting and we're looking to expand, right? So yeah, we appreciate it if all you ladies can refer other sisters. So we are looking for strong sisters who are dedicated in liberating and uniting our sisters in the struggle. So we must build teachers, righteous mentors, to give guidance to the sisters in the nation. And once again, we are under the leadership of our national president, Nasi Nasir X. And once again, in order to join, please have them send an email to TLOJAF777@gmail.com. Okay. To the Rabbah. Okay, so once again, ladies, the class is going to be today on the spiritual gifts of the latter times, right? So, what does this mean? What do we mean? What do I mean when I say spiritual gifts of the latter time? So these can include things such as, hold on just a second. Is there a way you could zoom in a little bit more, sister? Yeah, it's like super big. You might have to actually decrease the size. Yeah, it's like, what size is it now? What size is it at? Maybe try 50. Yeah, 50% is good. I think 50% is to the Rabbah. It's 2. It's good now. Okay. So spiritual gifts of the latter times. I hope everyone can see this clearly. So we'll be seeing increasing the spiritual gifts of the latter times. It says, so we'll be seeing increasing during the latter times. So these spiritual gifts, as we move closer and closer and closer to the new the kingdom, right? Inheriting the kingdom, the new Jerusalem. And we know that the kingdom will be here on the Eretz, on the earth, right? The renewed kingdom, the new Jerusalem, Jerusalem. So as this point happens, as this time happens, as we get closer and closer to the second Exodus, right? And as we get closer and closer to inheriting that kingdom, right? Abba Yahuwah willing that we all make it to the kingdom, and we're all written in the book of life. So we will be seeing these spiritual gifts emerge, right? We will be seeing these spiritual gifts manifest. A lot of people think it's impossible. Nothing is impossible with the Most High Yahuwah, right? And the word tells us clearly that you're going to see these spiritual gifts occur. That's why, as I personally see, the powers that be are nervous about this, because they know that the Kudashim, the ones who've been called out by the Most High, are going to have these gifts. And we are going to use these gifts for the betterment of humanity and to help with the oncoming war. It's going to be physical, but also the spiritual warfare that's coming ahead of us. That might be sooner rather than later. Now, nobody knows the time, the Most High knows, but we know that the signs of the times are there. We know all prophecies must come to pass, and we see the times. We see that we're living in those times now with all the warfare and the calamities, and all the seals are being opened, as it speaks to the book of Chazun or Revelations. It talks about the seals being opened by the Malachim, the angels, right? These seals being open, these things happening with the famines and the infirmities and things of that nature, right? So we see these, and the wars, right? We see these things occurring. So the afflictions, all these things are occurring. We're getting closer to that time, so we're living in that time, right? And chaos is only going to increase, right? It's going to get worse before it gets better. So we're going to see these spiritual gifts increasing. Has everyone gotten these spiritual gifts? Not yet, right? So everything is on the Most High's timing. So it is unique to each individual person. So you have a gift, your gift and my gift might not be the same. Sister Queen J, her spiritual gift, Sister Malka, her spiritual gift might be something totally different, right? Some people might have the gift of prophecy, to foresee, right? Just like you see the Nabim, the prophets within the scripture and the word. Some of them had the gift of prophecy, right? That's how they not created, but they were inspired by the Most High and the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of the Most High, to put together these scriptures, because it was the Spirit of the Most High that guided them, right? With these prophecies. So the Nabim, right? The prophets, right? That's a gift for some. Some are seers or prophets or prophetesses, right? Some might have the gift of healing. Some might have the gift of tongue interpretation or speaking many different tongues. People will have different gifts unique to each and every person, individual person, okay? So can and has been revealed to some people already. So some people already, these gifts has been revealed to them already, right? Everything's on the Most High's timing. So for others, spiritual gifts will be revealed at a later time. So some people don't, know what that gift is, Some people do know what their gift is. So examples include the gift of prophecy, the gift of healing, the gift of miracles, etc. So we see all throughout the scriptures these miracles happen, right? We know Yahushua HaMashiach walked on water, right? We know Moshe or Moses, he turned these shafts into a serpent. We see that Joseph or Yosef, right, one of the Israelites, or one of our patriarchs, he was a dream interpreter, right? So Moses, the story, not Moses, Salaki, Joseph, the story goes with Joseph, he was sold into slavery, into bondage, into captivity by his own brothers, right? His own brothers who envied him. So Joseph was sold into slavery unto the Egyptians, but he had the gift of interpreting dreams. So what Joseph would actually do, we'll get into the word shortly, is he interpreted dreams for the pharaohs, the Egyptian pharaohs. So they were impressed by this gift that he had, of course, given to him by the Most High Yahuwah. And they were so blown away and intrigued by this gift of dream interpretation that they would have him interpret the dreams. All right, so this was a gift that Yosef had. Some people have this gift of dream interpretation, okay? So we're gonna look at that in a minute too. And there's other gifts. Like I said, the gift of healing the sick. There's many different gifts, right? But each and every individual person, the ones that the Most High do bestow these gifts upon, has their unique gift, all right, that the Most High will give to them. Sister Marco, may you please go into the articles?
Is this the article? Because these are the ones that you sent me.
Yeah, this is one of them. This is the Blue Letter Bible, and it talks about this one talks about the various spiritual gifts in scripture. Okay, so we can get into this one. Like I had actually just explained to you ladies, Joseph, he had this gift of dream interpretation, right? So this is what we're going to get into right. Sister Marco, did you show the Bible verse, the scripture? Does it show the scripture, which scripture it is here? Well, it's the book of Bereshit. It's chapter 41, right? It looked like a little, maybe I have to, okay, Salaki, I had to zoom out, or zoom in, rather. All right, so this is the chapter of Bereshit, or Genesis 41, right? Okay, so it says, ladies, by the way, if anyone want to read, let me know, and you can always jump in and read. Okay. So it says that after 2 whole years, that Pharaoh dreamed that he was standing by the Nile. Once again, this is taking place in Egypt, Mizraim, right? Egypt. Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers who envied him. So and behold, there came up out of the Nile 7 cows and plumb, and they fed into the reed grass, and behold, 7 other cows, ugly and thin, came up out of the Nile after them and stood by the other cows on the bank of the Nile, and the ugly thin cows ate up the 7 attractive plump cows. So it says, and Pharaoh awoke. So this is the Pharaoh of Egypt, Mizraim. So it says that he fell asleep and he dreamed a second time. And behold, 7 ears of grain, plump and good, were growing one on one stalk. And behold, after them sprouted 7 ears, thin and blighted by the east wind. And the thin ears swallowed up the 7 plump full ears. So Pharaoh awoke, and behold, it was a dream. So in the morning, his spirit was troubled, right? So Pharaoh has his dream, he wakes up, his spirit was troubled the next day. So he sent and called out for all the magicians of Egypt and all of his wise men. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but there was none who could interpret them to Pharaoh. Now remember how we talk about how everything that the Most High does, miraculous and miracles and things like that, and the gifts of the Spirit, the adversary has his minions as well, who imitate, who mimic, who emulate, and counterfeit these works of the Most High, right? So ancient Egypt had their sorcerers and their magicians as well, but none of their works could line up to the works of the Most High. So Pharaoh calls upon their wise men and their magicians and sorcerers to interpret his dreams, and none of them knew the meaning of the dream, right? So it said, then the chief cupbearer said to Pharaoh, I remember my offenses today, when Pharaoh was angry with his servants and put me and the chief baker in custody in the house of the captain of the guard. We dreamed on the same night. Hey, we dreamed on the same night, he and I each having a dream with its own interpretation. A young Hebrew was there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. When we told him, he interpreted our dreams to us, giving an interpretation to each man according to his dream. And as he interpreted to us, so it came about. I was restored to my office, and the baker was hanged. So it says, and then Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, right? So they quickly brought him out of the pit. And when he had shaved himself and changed his clothes, he came and before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it. I have heard it is said of you that you can hear a dream and can interpret it. So Pharaoh says, hey, I heard you're a dream interpreter. Nobody else has had any success interpreting these dreams for me. None of the magicians, none of the wise men, none of the wizards can interpret this dream. I heard about you. Can you please help me? Right? So he said, okay. So he said, Joseph, so it says, Joseph answered Pharaoh, it is not of me. So the Most High will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, behold, in my dream, I was standing on the banks of the Nile. 7 cows, plump and attractive, came up out of the Nile and fed in the reed grass. 7 other cows came up after them, poor and very ugly, thin, such as I had never seen in all of the land of Egypt. And the thin, ugly cows ate up the first 7 plump ones. But when they had eaten them up, no one would have known that they had eaten them, for they were still as ugly as the beginning. So it says, and then I awoke. I also saw in my dream 7 ears growing on one stalk, full and good, 7 ears withered, thin, and blighted by the east wind, sprouted after them. And the thin ears swallowed up the 7 good ears. And I told it to the magicians. So they had their magicians, right? But there was no one who could explain it to me. So that's showing you that all these magicians and sorcerers, right? Their level of understanding or overstanding, as I say, their gifts don't line up to what the Most High can do, right? Their gifts don't line up according to what Joseph's gift is, because Joseph, his gift was given by the Most High, and these magicians and sorcerers, they serve a different source, right? So Joseph rises to power. This proposal pleased Pharaoh and all of his servants, and Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find a man like this? Are you able to stroll? Oh, wait. Oh, Salaki. Oh, I skipped a lot. Salaki. And then Joseph said to Pharaoh, the dreams of Pharaoh are one. Elohim revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows and 7 years, and the 7 good and the 7 good ears are 7 years. The dreams are one. The 7 lean and ugly cows that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty ears blighted by the east wind are also 7 years of famine. Hey. So Salakia, it is as I told Pharaoh that the Most High has shown to Pharaoh what he is about to do. There will come 7 years of great plenty throughout all of the land of Egypt, but after them there will arise 7 years of famine, and all the plenty will be forgotten in the land of Egypt. The famine will consume the land, and the plenty will be unknown in the land by the reason of the famine that will follow, for it will be very severe. And the doubling of Pharaoh's dream is that the thing is fixed by the Most High, and the Most High will shortly bring it about. So Joseph saying, listen, there's going to be a famine. This is what the Most High have revealed to me. Okay, this is what the dream is saying. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh select a discerning and wise man and set him over the land of Egypt. Let Pharaoh proceed to appoint overseers of the land and take 1/5 of the produce of the land of Egypt during the 7 plentiful years. And let them gather up all the food of these good years that are coming and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh for food in the cities, and let them keep it. That food should be reserved for the land against the 7 years of famine that are to occur in the land of Egypt, so that the land may not perish through the famine. So what happened here? Hey, what happened here? Pharaoh has a dream. None of the magicians or sorcerers are able to interpret this dream. None of the wise men of Egypt are able to interpret this dream. But guess who is able to interpret the dream? Joseph. Why? Because Joseph was granted the spiritual gift of the Most High to interpret dreams. So because of Joseph's spiritual gifts granted for him by Yahuwah, Pharaoh consults him. Please interpret this dream for me. And through this, it is that Pharaoh is able to gain the knowledge of what is about to occur in Egypt with the 7-year famine. Because of this knowledge that Pharaoh has now gained from the spiritual gift that Joseph has from the Most High. So lucky about this. I don't know what's wrong with the alarm. So because of this spiritual gift that Joseph has, and he's able to interpret this dream with the foreseeing of the 7-year famine, Pharaoh can properly prepare for what's about to come, right? So lucky, ladies. I don't know what's going on with the alarm. Ain't no one's cooking right now. So yeah, so that's what occurred here. Pharaoh was able to properly prepare, able to store up the food so that no one will perish with this 7-year famine upcoming, right? He was able to do that because of why? Because the gift that Joseph was given, right? And through this gift of dream interpretation, it was a prophecy that he foreseen of this 7-year famine that was going to happen in the land of Egypt, right? So that just goes to show you the power of the Most High. That just goes to show you that the spiritual gifts of the Most High, right? And how much knowledge that can bring, right? How much chokmah, how much wisdom that can bring. And from that, they were able to properly prepare. All right, so Joseph rises to power. So Joseph rises to power. And you see, the Most High, Yahuwah, will bring good out of a bad situation, because even though Joseph was sold into captivity by his own brothers, he went and he's now living with the Egyptians, right? Living in their land, living amongst them. And he was able to utilize his gift from the Most High to help out them, right? So so Joseph rises to power. So the proposal pleased Pharaoh and all his servants. So it says, and Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find a man like this in whom is the spirit of the Most High? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since the Most High has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you are. So it says, you should be over my house, and my people shall order themselves to your command. All right. So he giving Joseph some rank here. Only as regards to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. So you have this Egyptian have a Hebrew, an Israelite, someone who's not even indigenous to that land. He's setting him over all the land of Mizraim, of Egypt, because of the gift that Joseph has, right? And how he assisted them, right? So then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand. And he clothed him in garments of fine linen and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him ride in his second chariot. And they called out before him. All right, they called out before him, bow the knee. Thus he set him over the land of Egypt. Moreover, Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent, no one shall lift up hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zephanath, Paneah, and he gave him a marriage, Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. So Joseph actually married one of the Egyptian daughters. That's how Ephraim and Manasseh came about, right? So Joseph went out over the land of Egypt. So Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from the presence of Pharaoh and went through all of the land of Egypt. During the 7 plentiful years, the earth produced abundantly. And he gathered up all the food of these 7 years, which occurred in the land of Egypt, and out the food in this, and put the food in the cities. He put in every city the food from the fields around it. And Yusuf stirred up grain in great abundance, like the sand of the sea, until he ceased to measure it, for it could not be measured. So they're just preparing everything now, right? Before the year of famine came, 2 sons were born to Joseph. Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bore them to him. So Joseph called the name of the firstborn Manasseh, right? One of the tribes of Israel, Manasseh, one of Joseph's sons that he bore with the Egyptian, right? For he said, the Most High has made me forget all my hardship and all my father's house. The name of the second he called Ephraim. All right, so this was his second son, Ephraim. For the Most High have made me fruitful in the land of my affliction. So Joseph also looks at it as a barakah. He said, listen, I've been afflicted in this land. I've been sold into captivity by my brothers, but the Most High has bestowed these barakah upon me. He had the inheritance. He married while in this land, and he had 2 sons, right? So the 7 years of plenty that occurred on the land of Egypt came to an end. And the 7 years of famine began to come, as Joseph has said. There was famine in all the lands, but in all the land of Egypt, there was bread. When all of the land of Egypt was famished, the people cried to Pharaoh for bread. Pharaoh said to all the Egyptians, go to Joseph, what he says to you, do. So Pharaoh said, listen, you go to Joseph, follow his instruction and lead, okay? So when the famine had spread over the lands, Joseph opened up the storehouses and sold to the Egyptians, for the famine was severe in the land of Egypt. Moreover, all the earth came to Egypt, to Joseph, to buy grain, because the famine was severe all over the Eretz, all over the earth, right? So they looked up to Joseph, right? Everyone looked up to Joseph for leadership, for guidance, because of the power granted and authority granted and him by the Most High to be able to interpret these dreams. It was a spiritual gift, right? And he used that spiritual gift for a purpose, okay? So that just goes to show you that the spiritual gifts that the Most High bestow on us is used for a purpose, right? It's used for a purpose and betterment in some way, or assisting in some way. These are the reasonings of these spiritual gifts. We're not to use it for our own self-gain, or, we're to use it for the Most High's purpose and assignment and mission and that he has for us, whatever we're called out to do. All right. So we're going to go into the book of Matthew, Matatiyahu. This is chapter 10, verses 1 through 8. So, okay. So this talks about Yahusha HaMashiach, or aka, what everyone calls JC, we call him by his true name, Yahusha. So I said, and when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them the power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease. So you see that Yahusha HaMashiach had granted these miraculous gifts onto his disciples, right? Through Yahuwah. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these: the first Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip the Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the publican, and James the son of Alpeleus, and Labius, whose surname was Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas the Ishcariot, who also betrayed him. Y'all know the story of Judas, right? How he betrayed the Messiah. Okay, so these 12 Yahusha sent forth, and he commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Goyim, and into any city of the Samaritans, enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Yasharah. So Yahusha instructing them, listen, go unto the Israelites first, right? Instruct them, show them what to do, guide them. We have to be in the light. We have to know our assignment and mission before we're light to anyone else. Israel has to be awoken, right? We can't be a light to anyone else until we are in our assignments and in our mission and doing what we're supposed to do, right? So, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So this is what they were instructed to do. Preach that the kingdom is at hand, right? So heal this. Now this is the last line I want you to pay special close attention to. He said, heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead. Yes, listen. And a lot of times you're going to be seeing these miraculous wonders and spiritual gifts. It's only a matter of time. We can't say for sure when that time is, but when that time comes, I believe, in my heart of hearts, I wholeheartedly and strongly believe that as these events increase and it gets worse and worse and worse, I believe that's when the Most High will bring these things into fruition to combat the spiritual warfare. So I believe that as things increasingly get more chaotic, I believe that's when the Most High is going to bestow these gifts. I can't say, but that's what I see happening. So cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils, free ye have received, freely give. So you're granted these gifts, you're given these gifts, these barakah, So you are to utilize them for the betterment, right? Of healing the arets, helping, and you're using this for a positive purpose. You will also have some who will cast out demons, the shadim, the demons from people's bodies, legions of demons. Some already operating this gift, right? Of cleaning out the unclean spirits from people's bodies. You already see some doing this now in this current day. That's a gift that some people already know they have and use it. So, but you're just gonna see in the latter times these gifts emerge even more. You're gonna see it all the more, right? As things increase and that time gets closer and closer, you're gonna see it. So yeah, this is just an example. People will be healing. People will be um cleansing the people with infirmities, raising of the dead, casting out the demons, the unclean spirits, unfamiliar spirits. And make no mistake about it. Listen, just as we were created in the image of the Most High, these things are all possible, right? Because it is through Him that we operate within these spiritual things, right? It is through the Most High that the Ruach HaKodesh, the spirit that He put in Him, the spirit of the Most High in us, right? And those who are obedient to the Most High Yahuwah, and those who operate in the Ruach HaKodesh, the set apart spirit, the Kudashim, the set apart ones who have been called out, those will be the ones that you see that are operating that are operating with these gifts, right? The ones He choose, everyone will have it now, but the ones He have chosen to do these assignments and missions, you will see it manifest. You will see these things increase as we get closer and closer to the latter times, right? To the rubber. As we can go to the next one now. This one is. Let me see if it's okay. So what are the various spiritual gifts within the scriptures? So these are some of the introduction to the gifts of the Ruach HaKodesh. So scriptures mention these gifts of the Ruach or the Spirit in a number of portions of scripture. So you can find this in Romans chapter 12, verses 6 to 8, 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 4 through 11, 1 Corinthians verse 12, 28, 1 Corinthians 12, 29 and 30, 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 3, 1 Corinthians 13, 8, 1 Corinthians 14, 6. If you want, ladies, you can also take a snapshot, or you could take the notes so you'll know the verses to refer to and study on your own time. 1 Corinthians 14, 26, Ephesians 4:11, and 1 Peter 4:12. It says it is also possible that 1 Corinthians 7:7 and 1 Peter 4:9 may be referring to the spiritual gifts. It said not all the references are lists of gifts. Some of these references are definite lists of the gifts, while others are passages that mention more than one gift but cannot really be referred to as lists. 10 of these references come from the apostle Paul, Shaul, while 2 come from Peter. Okay. So it says the various passages where spiritual gifts are listed. It says the following are the various passages where spiritual gifts are listed. Romans chapter 12, verses 6 through 8. It says that Shaul wrote to the Romans with a list of the gifts of the Ruach, of the Spirit. So it says he listed them as follows. So it says having gifts that differ according to the grace given to us. So it says, let us use them. If prophecy in proportion to our amuna, our faith, if service and our serving, the one who teaches in his teaching, the one who exhorts in his exhortation, the one who contributes, Are you able to stroll? The one who contributes in generosity, the one who leads with zeal, the one who does acts of mercy with cheerfulness. That's in Romans 12:6-8. Okay. Okay. Then First Corinthians chapter 12, verses 4-11. So it says in First Corinthians, he gives another list. This list is rather lengthy. It reads in this manner. Now there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, right? Like I said, there are many, probably so many for me to even list, right? But it is the same Barak HaKodesh that is the source of them all. So these spiritual gifts of the followers of the Most High is granted and given to us by the Most High Yahuwah. All right. So there are different kinds of service. So in the assembly and the congregation, but it is the same, it's the same source, Yahuwah. We are serving. So there are different ways that the Most High works in our lives, but it is the same Almighty who does the work through all of us. So a spiritual gift is given to each one of us as a mean of helping the entire congregation. To one person, the Ruach gives the ability to give wise advice. To another, it gives a gift of special knowledge. So the Ruach or the Spirit gives a special amuna or faith to another. And to someone else, he gives the power to heal the sick, right? So that's what I said. Everyone will have each assignment and gift. He gives one person the power to perform miracles and another the ability to prophesy. He gives someone else the ability to know whether it is really the spirit of the Most High or another spirit that is speaking. That's another gift that many have, where they can discern between different spirits. Because like I said, the adversary mimics and mocks, and the shadim, the familiar spirits, the demonic spirits, they mimic and mock and deceive too, right? And sometimes that counterfeit, it looks so much like the real thing. It's hard for people to decipher what's of the Most High and what's the counterfeit. But some have that gift where they're able to know the difference. They have that discernment and that spirit and that gift. Still another person is given the ability to speak in unknown tongues, right? So you see, even with the Hebrews, the day of Pentecost, when they were speaking in different tongues, right? Now, I grew up as a Pentecostal Christian, and we're told that speaking in tongues is something they call glossolalia, right? Which it kind of sounds like gibberish, but we're told that's the speaking in tongues, right? But in the word, it talks about something completely with the day of Pentecost. They were speaking in these actual different tongues, Greek and Latin and Aramaic. And the people who are speaking in these different tongues, when they have that gift, there would be an interpreter there able to interpret. That's another thing in the church. We was taught with these tongues, there's supposed to be someone to interpret that, right? So if you're speaking in a different tongue, there should be someone who can interpret it, right? So they were just speaking in these various tongues that they weren't taught, but the Spirit of the Most High put it on them, right? To speak in these different tongues. So another is given the ability to interpret what is being said. It is the one and only Ruach HaKodesh that distributes these gifts, right? He alone decides which gift each person should have. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 4-11. So the Most High decides what gift, spiritual gift, each person will have. That's up to the Most High, what gifts we have, and when he manifested within us, right? So then 1 Corinthians 12:28, so later in the same chapter, we read the gifts lifted in a particular order. So Shaul wrote, first, the Most High chose some people to be apostles and prophets and teachers for the assembly, but he also chose some to work miracles or heal the sick or help others or be leaders or speak different kinds of tongues. Again, that's 1 Corinthians 12, 28. Some believe these are listed in their order of importance. Are you able to show, Sister Mocha? 1 Corinthians 12, 29 and 30. Shaul then restated the list in the form of a question. He said, are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all Nabi? No, everyone is not going to be a Nabi or prophet or prophetess. You know, once again, everyone has each assigned individual, special, and unique gift from the Most High. Are all teachers? No, not all are called to do that. Do all work miracles? No. Some perform miracles, some won't. Do all possess gifts of healing? No. Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? 1 Corinthians 12, 29 and 30. The answer to this question is no, not everyone has those gifts. Ephesians 4:11, when Shaul spoke to the Ephesians, he listed the following gifts, and he gave some as apostles and some as prophets and some as evangelists and some as pastors and teachers. Ephesians 4:11, right? So the Most High even appointed some people to teach, right? And then those who teach are going to be held to a high, they're going to be judged accordingly to how they taught, right? And the message they delivered, because when people are put in a position to teach, they can sway people, right, in their perspective, and the Most High looks at that and he judges accordingly. So even some teachers, well, anyone who teaches, right, will be held accountable for if they're not teaching the message properly of the Most High. Why? Because you can lead others astray. So we're gonna be judged based on that as well. Okay, so here we have another list. So 1 Peter 4:11. Let's look at 1 Peter 4:11. Are you able to stroll, sister? All right. So the last reference to spiritual gifts is found in the writings of Peter. He said, whoever speaks must do so as one is speaking the very words of Elohim, of Eloah, of the Most High, right? So whoever serves must do with the strength that Eloah supplies, so that Eloah may be glorified in all these through Yahushua HaMashiach, right? The Messiah. To him belong the glory and the power forever and ever. Amen. 1 Peter 4:11. So I not mention the term spiritual gift. Peter seems to be referring to two categories of gift, and this will speak the gift of speaking gifts and ministering gifts of the Ruach HaKodesh, of the Spirit. So these are the two gifts Peter was referring to in that verse. Are you able to stroll, Sister Marka? Okay, so the speaking gifts will probably include apostle, prophet, teacher, pastor, and evangelist. The serving gifts will probably refer to ruling, giving, showing mercy, and ministering. In the other places where the gifts are mentioned but not in the list, there are a number of other places where more than one spiritual gift is mentioned. Not everyone would consider these as lists of spiritual gifts. However, for completeness sake, these passages should be noted. Is there anything else at the bottom here, sister? So you have 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 1 through 3. Shaul mentions 4 the gifts of the Ruach. At the beginning of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, they are prophecy, speaking in tongues, and the gifts of understanding mysteries and knowledge. He wrote the following to the church of Corinth. Are you able to stroll? To the rabbi. If I speak human or angelic languages but do not have love, I'm a sounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have or amuna or faith, that I can move mountains but do not have love, right? Amuna, ahaba, I am nothing. And if I donate all my goods to feed the poor, and if I give my body in order to boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. First Corinthians 13, verses 1 through 3. So Shaul saying, listen, I can have all these gifts, but if I don't have Amuna, if I don't have Ahaba, if I don't have love, if I'm boastful, what is it? You know, it means nothing. He also mentions three of the gifts in one verse in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. 1 Corinthians 13 and 8. All right. 1 Corinthians 14 and 6, Shaul mentions a number of gifts in the beginning of chapter 14 of 1 Corinthians. He presents them as follows. Now, brothers and sisters, if I come to you speaking in tongues, how I benefit you, unless I speak to you in some revelation of knowledge or prophecy or teaching. 1 Corinthians 14, 6. Again, Shaul's mentioning the speaking in tongues gift, right? And in 1 Corinthians 14:26, he lists gifts at the end of the chapter 14 that include speaking in tongues and interpreting the tongue. Now, remember, I said there should be an interpreter present, right? So, well, my brothers and sisters, let's summarize that I am saying when you meet, one will sing, another will teach, another will tell someone special revelation that the Most High has given, one will speak in an unknown language, and another will interpret what is said. But everything that is done must be useful to all and build them up in your uwah. So all this must benefit, right? The flock, the fold, or all of this serves as a purpose and a benefit, right? To help. Are you able to stroll? All right. That was 1 Corinthians 14:26. The gift of speaking in tongues is again mentioned. Now it says other possible gifts is marriage, celibacy, and hospitality. I will consider those more of acts rather than spiritual gifts. It says some have thought the New Testament speaks specifically about three other spiritual gifts: marriage, celibacy, and hospitality. Again, I would say those are more of acts, not so much gifts. 1 Corinthians 7:7, marriage and celibacy may be spiritual gifts. So okay, that's going into something a little different. It's talking about celibacy and marriage. And yes, you will have some who are followers of the Most High who choose not to marry, who choose, to remain celibate and serve the Most High, right? Not to say there's anything wrong with marriage or bearing children, but there are some who will live a lifestyle of celibacy. There's some who will live a lifestyle of being single and just serving the Most High. Sister Marco, was that it?
I think so, yes. That's all the file that you sent to me.
Okay. Okay. Boy, I'm trying to think. Was there one with Moses, Moshe? Did I send you an article about Moses? One last one about Moses and turning a staff into the serpent, or no? If I didn't, I might have forgot to attach that link.
No, you didn't send me.
No, okay. All right. I was gonna go into Moshe and that gift of how he turned the staff into a serpent. That was another spiritual gift, right? So Moshe was another one who was living amongst the Egyptians, and you see them turn the staff into a serpent. And that's something that people today say, oh no, that's not possible.
I think I found it.
You found it?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna go into this last article and you'll see the spiritual gift that Moshe had, right? And the reason I know this happened in ancient times, this happened in times of antiquity, but it's still applicable because as we approach that time, we're going to see these same gifts that we're reading in the word. You're going to see it manifest with Yahuwah's people today. All right. So this is the book of Shemot, or Exodus, chapter 7, verses 8 through 13. So Moshe, our great patriarch, the Levite, Moses, right? So So the staff becomes a snake. So then Yahuwah, right? Yahuwah told Moshe and Aaron, when Pharaoh says to you, perform a miraculous sign, then you are to say to Aaron, take your staff out and throw it in front of Pharaoh. It will become a serpent. They wanted to see signs and wonders of the Most High. They didn't believe of the power of the Most High. So Yahuwah says, all right, they want the evidence. They want the proof of my existence and who I am, the great mighty one you serve, the almighty you serve, the sovereign creator. I am going to show them the sign and the miracle. Throw that staff, it's going to turn into a withering serpent. Okay? So Moshe and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did what Yahuwah had commanded of them. And Aaron threw his staff in front of Pharaoh and his officials, and it became a serpent. Yes, this happened. Yes, it will. Things like this will be happening in a lot of times.
Well, can you help me sign up for Roblox?
So the stuff you see on these sci-fi fantasy and things like that, everyone goes, no, this is not possible. No, anything is possible with the Most High. So you're going to see these things manifest. Okay, so it became a serpent. Then for Pharaoh also called for the wise men and sorcerers. Once again, you see what the Egyptians trying to doubt the power of the Most High. So they try to kind of compete and challenge that, right? So they bring their sorcerers, they bring their wise men and their magicians, right? To try to compete and challenge that power of the Most High, right? And they, along with the Egyptian magicians, did the same thing with their secret art. So they said, okay, that's not impressive. You can do it. We can do it too. You can turn that your staff into a serpent. Oh, we got our magicians and sorcerers. We can do the same thing. You see how the enemy mocks, he deceives, he counterfeits everything the Most High does. Remember, the adversary was a Malaki. He was a messenger, right? So everything he did, that's why he was kicked out of the Shemayim, because he was challenging the Most High. He wanted to be like the Most High, right? So they did the same. The sorcerers and magicians of Egypt, they did the same thing. They're trying to compete now with the power and the works of the Most High, the gifts of the Most High, right? So they did the same thing with their secret arts. So each one threw down his staff, and it also became a serpent. But Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs, right? So they're like, we can do it too. But Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs, right? So it's showing you who the true power and authority, right? That sovereign power, who it lies with the Most High. So it says, yet Pharaoh's heart was stubborn. So Pharaoh was stubborn. He was stiff-necked, right? So and he did not listen to them, just as Yahuwah had said would happen. So the Most High has to show the Egyptians, the Mizraim, the people of Mizraim, who he is, right? Who the Israelites, who the Almighty is of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Jacob, right? Who the Most High, who the Almighty is, because remind you, these other nations, they chose not to serve the Most High Yahuwah. The Most High Yahuwah had revealed himself to these other nations times over, but they chose to serve the idols. So now Yasharah, Israel as a nation, was chosen, right? As the Most High's people. And we are used to spread his message, right? We are used to spread the Most High's word, his light. We're his watchmen, right? We're his vessel. We're his nation of people. So as we operate under the authority of the Most High, you have the other nations with their idols and with their magic works and with their sorcerers and with their magicians. They operate under a different spirit that's not the Most High. They're moving differently, right? They're, like I said, these counterfeit spirits, these familiar spirits, they operate under a different spirit, but they want to mimic and mock and emulate and imitate what the Most High Yahuwah does. But they are not supreme like the Most High. Their works are limited. Their knowledge is limited. What they can do is limited. They can only do what the Most High allowed them to do. So they're never going to reign truly supreme as Yahuwah does, right? What they can do is limited. Are you able to open up the full chapter? I think there's a couple more verses here where it says read full chapter. I think if you click on that, it'll show the rest. Let me see. Sister Malka, I think if you open up the chapter here, it should open up all right, let's see. Okay. All right, yeah. So that was pretty much it. Because this goes into the plagues. That's going into something completely different now. This goes into the plagues. You know, Moshe says, "Let my people go." We'll go into that another time with the Exodus. Oh, okay. Salaki. And National President just sent me a reminder message about the uniform. So, sisters, Akudi, we're having our second national training coming up soon. Okay, 2023 national training coming up soon. So we're making preparations and plans for the uniforms that we will be wearing. Sister Marka already sent me something in mind that she has. It looks very elegant, very modest, very chic, very looks kind of fancy. I like it. So we're just kind of going over the uniforms right now, but when we have more detail, more information, we definitely will let you sisters know the purchases and things as far as the uniforms go for attendance of the next national conference. Okay, we'll keep you posted, we'll keep you updated as we come with more plans and as we decide on what we will be wearing for the next training. All right. And also, y'all can if you want, get some suggestions, on the uniforms as well. In the signal group, if you want, you can give some suggestions, some ideas as well, okay? All right, so ladies, anybody have any questions, any concerns, any comments? Anything needs to be clarified, edification, clarification, anything? All praises to Abba Yahuwah. All praises to Abba Yahuwah. These are the times we're living in. You just never know.
Never know or unmuted. Hey, I was trying to unmute my phone. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Concerns?
Yes, just like to share. I had one question about where in the Bible does it say that we will be raising people from the dead for one? I forgot where that's at. Hello?
We can't hear you, Sister Rena.
Oh, I can read it. I'm sorry, Lucky. Go back to the verse where Messiah was talking to the disciples.
I didn't hear you.
Sister Rena, are you there?
Sister Rena, are you there?
Kai, give me just a minute.
Hi, give me just a minute.
Sister Marka, are you able
Sister
to
Martha, are you able
the,
to
the PowerPoint? I mean, not.
not
Can you pull up the article with Matthew one time real quick? I'm sorry, Salaki, because Sister Misty wanted to see it. Give me a. Okay, Sister Misty, it's here in Matthew 10, verse 8. Matthew 10 and 8. It said, heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely you have received, freely give. Yeah, Matthew 10, verse 8. Okay. Matat Yahoo. Mighty Yahoo.
Okay, I'm having difficult like trying to know what to do. I'm trying to unmute myself, but yes, I hear you and thank you.
No problem, sister.
Also, I wanted to share something that I learned recently about this the staff and that Moses had and how it applies today. During Moses' time, yes, that was done in the physical, but the healing of the sick and everything now, how Christ will heal us is going to be mental. It's spiritually and mental. Like the snake going up the pole, right? That was the God told them to put together to heal the Israelites during that moment. We have that same image when it comes to doctors and physicians and the hospital and healing the sick places, right? So, people don't understand how, well, I'm not saying y'all, but I'm just saying, like, people don't understand that we produce an oil in our spines. I know they call it spinal fluid or whatever, but our people produce an oil that goes from up our spines to our brains that we produce, and that oil is so-called anointing oil of the head, for the head. It's really deep, and it's like when we get that, when we learn how to use that, you know what I'm saying? The Holy Spirit will reveal to us what we need to be healed, and by herbs and seeds of the land, because we don't really need the pharmaceutical people anymore. And if we didn't in the beginning, that's why people lived so long, because they lived off of the things that God provided for us already in the land. And we got to get back to that. I'm trying to get like, we got to get back to those ways of using herbs to heal, and also prayer. You know what I'm saying? Like a prayer circle where people come together, prayer warriors, prayer circle, whatever they want to call it. But people come together on one accord, one faith, and all of that, and just pray that anointing. And that's why it says that we're supposed to anoint our heads and of the sick and pray for them, and they will be healed. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, really deeper than just today, like it was through Moses' time. Moses, yes, did it in the physical earth and through his that cycle of time, but today we have to do it spiritually because we're fighting a spiritual battle, and things are done in a spiritual nature. See, what I'm trying to say, and I'm gonna be done. The devil tried, like you said earlier, the devil try to duplicate what Christ does. He always try to do the opposite of what Christ does. He's the Antichrist. You know what I'm saying? So he, man, and or whatever, try to duplicate everything Christ do, everything Christ does, but they cannot do the supernatural things that Christ and God does. And that's what the powers that God is going to release on us to be able to do, you know. So that's all I wanted to share. I just wanted to kind of touch bases about that staff and Moses and things like that, because we have to look from the spiritual eye, not the physical eye, you know, when he's talking about certain things concerning today's time, you know. But we got to learn from the Old Testament and see and pray and ask him what is he talking about, like that we can apply to our walk and our talk in today's time. And that's all I wanted to share.
Bravo. Excellent. I agree. And those days, the prophets, the Nabi, they had their own gifts and the ways that they did things, or the gifts that the Most High gave to them, right? Like we see Joseph interpreted the dreams. Moshe, he performed miracles, right? Yahushua HaMashiach turned water into wine. He walked on water. Yahushua HaMashiach was actual, he's an example that we want to follow, right? But we are going to see in a lot of time, we're going to see it a lot of times resurface. Like I said, some people are already operating within their gift, you know, but you have other people who haven't been revealed to them. And as these times increase, as we get closer and closer and closer, and a lot of times we see it in even Revelations, it speaks of all these things that we're going to see resurface and reemerge. And as in the days of Noah, so shall be before the return of the
Exactly. Yeah, but that's right.
But things are increasing. The signs are there, right? All the prophecies must come to pass, right? All the prophecies must come to pass. When we see the signs, the seven seals, and Shazun, the book of Revelation says with the seven Malachim and the seven seals and the horsemen, and you know, so we see these things emerging. We see these things surfacing now, right? So it's only a matter of time before these spiritual gifts for all the chosen people that the Most High have chosen to bestow these spiritual gifts, because once again, it's only certain that He have called. Many are called, few are chosen. That you'll see these things surface and reemerge, right? But it's like Sister Misty said, we gotta look at things from a spiritual point of view. A lot of things people look at very carnally, and they don't have the Ruach HaKodesh or the Spirit of the Most High to discern spiritual matters. And as far as the doctors go, yes, the doctors do have their place and their role, right? When it comes to saving lives and surgeries and these, these type of things. You fall and bump your head, you need a surgery, we go to a doctor. None of us know how to open the head and perform a surgery, right? But doctors, I feel, not all of them, some of them, they'll tell you, you're only going to live for X amount of days and X amount of weeks. And then the Most High comes in and says, guess what? No, I'm going to extend your life 20 plus years. So with certain things, I think for them, they look at things in the carnal, and we look at our emunah, our faith is in the Most High, right? And what He can do and His miracles, right? So that's what we put our emunah in. Our faith in, first and foremost, is the Most High, not in the man. So when man says it's not possible, the Most High Yahuwah says it is possible, and He comes and proves that to us every time, right? So that's the difference between us and the rest of the world, is that a lot of them don't have, if they're not walking in the spirit of the Most High and don't have the emunah or that belief source, their mindset can't comprehend the tremendous amount of miraculous things that the Most High Yahuwah can do. Right? They're looking at things so carnally from the flesh level. They're not looking at things from a spiritual perspective. That's one of the main differences between us and the world, right? We understand the spiritual manners. They're looking at things from a carnal perspective. They're not looking at it from like what the Creator can do, His abundance, right? How great He is. They're not looking at it from that perspective, right? To the robber, Sister Misty. Sister El Sheba, hello.
Hello, sister. I just want to chime in a little bit that, God definitely can heal anything and help us carry things. And also working at Heal, we have a certified herbalist here, and I went off my ADHD meds because of some concoction she done made me. I was trying to look for it. And then also, I've had PCOS. Oh, here you go. One of them is in that mix is St. Johnson's wort, but she done mixed so much stuff up for me that worked and got my cycle back right and stuff too, because I have PCOS and scar tissue and stuff. And it's just amazing to me how much better using herbs and just tea and different things I feel and don't have the side effects. I even gave my elderly dad that had cancer some different things she made for him to help him heal, because he wasn't able to sleep before. He had to sleep in his recliner, otherwise the acid was so bad when he was laying down and stuff. And now he can sleep back in his bed with his wife, praise Yah. So it's just, it's amazing. So if anybody's in Minneapolis, I can put, is it okay if I put her information in the chat?
Sure. I don't think national president, I think he'll be okay with that. Yeah. Yes. I mean, we're all for it. That's what this organization is about too, about healing,
Yeah. And it's a
Sister Marka is National Minister of Health, so she talks about the herbs too. I'm into the natural as well, the herbs and things like that. I think pretty much everybody here is into natural healing, so that should be fine, sister.
And I'd be happy to mail out anything to anybody too, if they can't find it locally.
If you're on, are you on in the Signal chat? Is you can probably share that as well.
Okay. I'm on Signal. I don't know that I've been added to the Lions of Judah one yet.
I have to. You have Sister Marka. Do you have Sheba's number? You have her number. If not,
Yes.
maybe if you want, you could probably Add her to the signal chat, the signal group.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, to the Rabba El Sheba.
I appreciate y'all. Todorara.
If you look in the Greek, the word pharmakeia, which means sorcery, potions, all of that witchcraft is where the word pharmacy comes from. So your current day pharmacies, the pharmakeia, what it does is it masks the root or banish a lot of the infirmities we have, but it don't get to the root cause of the problem. So that's actually the word sorcery in Greek, and Brit Hadasha, the renewed covenant, what they call the New Testament, and which the Greek scriptures, it says pharmakeia, sorceries, potions. This is what that is. So a lot of the people you see hooked on this stuff, the sorcery, the potions of the pharmaceutical industry, right? It's not about the natural healing that the Most High have gave us the herbs.
Sister, I added you on the group, so you just have to accept it to join. Like you have to go on the app to accept the request.
Hallelujah. And Sister Misty, when you have a chance, if you can download the Signal app as well, I will add you to our group chat. Okay? I didn't forget about you. I was just, whenever you get the app, I'll add you, okay? And I appreciate all you ladies. Greetings, Sister Michelle. Shalom. Sister Queen J, I hope you're holding up well, Queen J. And I just appreciate all of you ladies. You know, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, right? And I know a lot is going on right. I don't know what each and every person is going through right now, but whatever it might be, listen, may the Most High just immerse you in his comfort and his Ruach HaKodesh, and you know, just be with you, your families. Sister Queen Jay, I know you've been going through some things. My palaus with you, and the Most High please guard and gird you, your home, your ish, and everybody. I look forward to seeing you next week. To the Rabba for coming, for showing up, for assembling. May the Most High be with everybody. I forgot to palau. Wait. Abi Uwa, we ask that you cover and guard and gird all the sisters here. And may you barak their homes, Abi Uwa. May you please take them under your hedge of protection, Abi Uwa. We plan for also the sisters who couldn't make it here, Abi Uwa. We're asking for the protection over them as well, Abi Uwa. And we're just hoping that you're pleased with our ways, Abi Uwa. We're hoping that you're pleased, Abi Uwa. We esteem you. We give you all praise, or yada, or thanks, Abi Yahuwah, to the Rabbi for all you continue to do for your daughters. To the Rabbi, as we leave this line, asking that you cover everybody here and even the ones who couldn't make it and their loved ones, Abi Yahuwah. To the Rabbi Yahuwah, in your and your Usha name, we allow Amanah. Ania Habata, ladies. Ahaba, Shalom. Have a lovely night, and until next time. Ahaba, Shalom.
Could quietly wait.